All right. What's up, Des Moines? Doc Ladd here with the Fit Moines podcast. Today I have Andrew Seymuor with Seymour Health and Fitness. How's it going, Andrew?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me, Brian.
Good. Yeah, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. So, Andrew, the goal of this podcast is to highlight people and businesses in the health and wellness community throughout the Des Moines metro, so that we can all learn, grow, and continue to live long, healthy, and active lifestyles. So that's exactly why we brought you on, so we could get to know you a little bit better and learn more about your business. So why don't we get started by just having you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah. Like Brian said, my name's Andrew Seymuor, owner of Seymour Health and Fitness, which is a personal training business here in the Des Moines area. I'm from Dubuque, Iowa. My parents still live there, and then I went to St. Ambrose University in the Quad Cities. Upon graduation, I got a job at Lifetime down here in Urbandale. So I took a job there, started there, worked there for about a year and a half, and then decided it was time to kind of branch off on my own. I figured I could create my own brand. And I really wanted to branch off and do my own thing, and provided me with a platform to help my clients a little bit more and kind of lead them down the path I wanted versus following the guidelines of a corporate business. So it benefited me, it benefited my clients. Took those both into account when I began, and it's been awesome ever since. It's coming up on 3 years now, it's fun.
That's awesome. Is personal training something you always wanted to do, or?
Actually, no. So I went to school. When I went to school, I thought pediatrician originally.
Okay.
I was a bio major for starters, and I love working with kids. I love working to be able to help other people, and I thought that'd be a good route. Bio major to start. I was playing football at St. Ambrose, and then I ended up quitting after my sophomore year. Had too many concussions. My dad and I sat down and figured, you know what, my brain's a little more important than playing NAIA football for 4 years. So I stopped there and I switched my major from biology to exercise science, and then picked up my human performance and fitness major as well. So I doubled in those two, and then got a bio and minor, or a minor in biology.
Okay.
But yeah, once I got done with football, I really kind of changed routes, and I made a lot of good friends playing football there. It was awesome. I'm super lucky for all that. But at the same time, once I was done, they were still playing. So it was kind of me on my own, and I leaned on exercise. We worked out growing up. We were in the weight room in high school, in the weight room in college, and I learned a lot more throughout my college, the football career there with the strength coaches. They were awesome. But once I stopped playing ball, that was really when I realized how important working out was to me. And then that kind of led me to do what I do, where it helped me, mentally, physically. It was a getaway for me, but at the same time, like, I felt, you build strength, you build confidence, you build, there's so many benefits to it other than just the physical side of it. And that really, it opened my eyes to that. And then when my senior year, I was a strength and conditioning intern for Pleasant Valley High School. And Coach Arnold does an awesome job with those kids. Like, everybody buys in. There's a reason Pleasant Valley is always a pretty good contender in all their sports. And he taught me a lot of things, and it really showed how the environment of a weight room can really be shown on the field. So all the results, all the time that they put in, it results in success on the field. And once I kind of saw that, I thought maybe strength and conditioning would be a route I'd want to take.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked around for some jobs like that. I figured I'd need my CSCS to get that. But while I was doing that, I was also getting my personal training certification. And I did a little bit of personal training at St. Ambrose through the campus rep program. And then I applied for a couple of jobs, different personal training jobs, thinking it would be a stepping stone to strength and conditioning. And then I got into it, and I realized how much I loved it. I love doing, the one-on-one, the connection you make with your clients. And I've been super lucky. All my clients have been amazing. I've got, some of the people I first started with, the lady who was my first client at Lifetime, her and I still work out together 3 times a week. Like, she's been there, she's been there from when I started at Lifetime. She trusted this, 22-year-old coming out of college. And since then she's lost 50 pounds. She's done a triathlon. She's done, it's incredible to see all the work that she's put in to get where she wants to be. It makes my job super rewarding. So that's one where personal training was never a thought. And, when I first started, I thought maybe it would be a temporary position because, you don't associate personal training with a career field. I didn't anyways. I
Sure.
thought it was more just a good job out of college. But since then, and since I've realized, how many people you can connect with and help, and not only I help them, but they've helped me, man. It's been the connections I've made, the networking, the lessons I've learned from them. I'll help them with their health, fitness, mindset, that kind of thing. But at the same time, like, everybody I work with comes from a different part of life. I'm working with the CFO at Federal Home Loan Bank. I'm working with an IT guy. I'm working with there's an accountant. There's there's so many different people, and they've got all kinds of, they're experts in their own fields, and it's fun to pick their brains too. So I get just as much out of training as they do, I would assume. But it's not really something I ever expected I would do, but because of the connections and the relationships I've made, I definitely see myself doing it for a long time.
That's awesome. Yeah, I found myself too, just working one-on-one with people. I think my favorite thing is just learning so much about them. Like like you said, I work with people from all different types of backgrounds, and there's so much stuff I don't know, and it's really interesting to me to hear, what they're an expert in, and so it makes it a lot of fun.
It really is, yeah. And there's so much that you don't know, and that's part of it too, is learning and listening, and keeping your mouth shut. And once you can kind of, when you're learning about personal training, you learn how to ask open-ended questions and allow the people to talk to, people want to expand on subjects that they know very well. So that mean a lot to them. So asking those questions and allowing your clients to kind of speak freely, that way it's not just a A-B conversation back and forth. You can kind of go down some crazy avenues, and you do learn a lot, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So what motivates you?
What motivates me? I think just when I branched off to start Seymour Health and Fitness, there were some people that definitely questioned that move. I was 24 years old, deciding to leave a pretty safe corporate job. Working for Lifetime was nice because I made a lot of great connections, and I wouldn't have the clients I did if I didn't start there. But also, like, I was young and I didn't really have any risk. If things fell through and Seymour Health and Fitness went down the drain, I can go get a desk job somewhere and, make ends meet. But I figured, let's take that little leap and see what happens. And doing so, it really, it forced me to take accountability for everything,
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason I put my last name on the business, because I feel like if something goes wrong, it's my responsibility. If something goes right, I can also take credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
So using that as a little bit of motivation to, it's my name, it's my brand. If I make a mistake, it's 100% on me. Therefore I need to make no mistakes, and that's not ever going to happen, because we're all going to make the mistakes, but at the same time, learning from those and trying to create a positive, make my name well known in the Des Moines area, but also with a positive side to it. I don't want to get on anybody's bad side. I want to make sure that I've got my name out there and I'm a good resource for anybody, So that's kind of the motivation of, I've got everything's on my shoulders, which there's stresses with that, but at the same time, it's fun because you do get to reap the benefits of that. And then, it's kind of cool to be running your own business too.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like you're doing a good job. I mean, you were voted the 2019 Des Moines Best Local Personal Trainer. So I think you're off to a good start. So
Yeah, I appreciate that. That was all my, clients, family, friend. Lucky to have them for votes there, but it's definitely it was cool to be able to sit back and realize that you are making those differences in people's lives, because you get caught up in the day-to-day stuff sometimes, and it can get difficult at times. But at the same time,
yeah,
to get an award like that, it really did mean a lot.
yeah, absolutely. So you kind of hit on it already, but is there like a certain clientele you work with, or who all do you work with?
It ranges. It varies. I've got anybody from, I work with, there's some 13, 14-year-olds. I've got the number one women's tennis player, age 14 in the state of Iowa. And then I work with a lady who's 87 years old, everything in between there too. So it's cool because I've got some athletes, I've got some college swimmers, I've got some high school athletes, some younger kids, I've got, the stay at home moms, I've got, just parents working, I've got grandparents, I've got sweet little 87-year-old Betty. I mean, it's cool because it's such a range, it's such a variety of clients, and everybody wants something different. It forces me not to just create a cookie cutter program and copy it and paste it to everybody's workout. Everybody wants something different, and
Sure.
that's part of the fun of the job too, is it keeps me accountable in the sense that I need to prepare every week to give them what they want and what they need. So what goes into that is when I'm creating the program for clients, obviously sometimes you need to call an audible and adjust as things come up, or different things happen in life, and you need to work on the fly a little bit. But I like to go into each program or each training session with a plan in place, and if we need to adjust it, that's fine. But you know Ava, who's 14 years old, is doing a completely different program than Betty, so I like to work with with a variety of people, and it's fun for me too, because it kind of keeps me, some of it digs in or dives into that strength and conditioning background, and then the other side of it is more the general population. So it keeps me on my toes a little bit too.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there one place you train out of? Do you have your own place, or?
A little bit of both. So I rent space at the Sandlot, which is off of EP True and 50th in West Des Moines. The owner of that, Trent, is a good friend of mine from Lifetime. Him and I used to teach the Alpha, which is like a CrossFit style class at Lifetime. And then I left, and then about a year later, he left. He bought his own space, or he leases it. And then I hooked up with him, and I work out over there. But then I also, for people that are closer to my house, I'll have them come over and work out in the garage. I bought a house in March, and during quarantine, we built out a garage gym. So we've got reverse hyper, GHD, assault bike, 2 squat racks, hex bar, a couple barbells, dumbbells, pull-up bar, everything you could need. And then I've actually, because of quarantine, there were some people that still wanted to train but don't feel comfortable going back to the gym, and that's totally fine. I want to make sure that my services provide for anybody and whoever feels comfortable where. I want to make sure that I make it easy for them. So
Yeah.
there's a few people I go to their house, and I'll train them out of their house, whether they, if they need me to bring equipment, I'll bring equipment. But there's a couple people that have home gyms built, and I'll just go to their place versus making them come to me. So really whatever's easiest. I've got a location in West Des Moines, being at Trent's place over at the Sandlot. I've got my house in the Johnston Urbandale area, and then I go out to Granger for a gentleman, and then I go out to the Waukee area for another guy as well.
Okay, nice. Are you doing anything online? Any like virtual training or?
Yeah, there's my brother. He's been doing a little bit of work for me. He's finishing up his final year at Drake, and he does a little bit of strength and conditioning for me. He likes working with youth athletes, so he's an option as well. But he does a lot of the online programming for me now. He's doing awesome with that. He's more tech savvy than I am. I'm terrible with that. But yeah, we work with we've got some online clients that we'll send individualized programs for in Chicago, back home where we're from in Dubuque, Iowa City. We've got somebody out in California that we're doing some stuff for, but it's, it depends on what they're looking for, and it's fun because we'll just kind of, what they're looking for, but also what they have access to, right? So with everything that's been going on lately, some gyms are open depending on where you're at, some aren't. So
Yeah.
there's, we can make at home stuff, we can make workouts based off the gym as well. So yeah,
Sure.
we do online as well.
That's awesome. And I was going to say, the last time I talked to you, I don't think you had that like performance side up and running. Maybe you did. I don't know. Is that something that you recently added because of COVID, or?
Yeah, it was pretty new when we chatted last. And it's partially because my brother really wants to get into that, and he's studying for a CSCS right now. He's graduating with a kinesiology degree from Drake. And he's kind of wanted to get into that field. So there's a guy back home in Dubuque. His name's Mike Zwiefel, and he runs Building Better Athletes. And he's got an incredible facility there. He's got a great programming. He works with a lot of kids, and he makes it fun for them. And that's one thing that I pride myself into is enjoy your workouts, but at the same time, we're going to get stuff done, right? So it's going to be a little bit of what you want, but a little bit of what you need. If you don't enjoy something, same with like nutrition and that kind of stuff, if you don't enjoy it or you can't buy in completely, you're never going to stick with it. So we need to figure out the balance between, what you want, what you need in order to keep you on the right path. So Mike back in Dubuque, he does a really good job of getting, kids go in there, they have fun, but at the same time they work and get their stuff done. And I think Colin kind of wants to model it off of that a little bit. We'll have our own twists, obviously. And Mike's a great guy. I've picked his brain a couple times too. He's very knowledgeable. He played a receiver at University of Dubuque, and he was the D3 Heisman Trophy winner. I don't know the exact name of what the trophy was, but he was best in the nation, which was kind of cool. And then he had a little cup of coffee with the Packers too. But he's a very intelligent guy, very, very cool to follow along with online and social media and stuff. But my little brother does want to kind of create something of that sort around here. And I've left it up to him. I've given him the reins to kind of do his own thing. And I trust him. I trust him with any of my clients if I were to be gone, but he does a really good job with the kids, and they enjoy it. And that's another thing too. Like, it's becoming more and more common for children to get into weightlifting. And there's misconceptions around that of, they're going to stunt their growth, or it's dangerous for them. It's dangerous for them if they don't know what they're doing. They don't have the proper, technique and form, and somebody keeping an eye on them. But when done correctly and with the right form and without going too crazy on weights, it can be very beneficial, So, and that's one thing that he really specializes in, and it's something that he's kind of taken on a little bit more.
Okay. What age groups does he work with? Is there a certain age range?
He's anywhere from, he's got a 7-year-old he's working with right now till about the 14, 15, 16 range. And then he also trains a couple D1 athletes.
Okay.
And then he's got a couple general population clients as well. So,
awesome.
I told him too, that's one thing that it's very difficult to just start off with that niche of kids. It's hard to get into that. So he's going to have to, and he enjoys that too. He's going to take on clients that are, general population, just looking to lose weight or burn body fat or, get stronger, whatever it may be. And then he'll also take the performance side as well.
Sure. Okay. Well, switching gears just a little bit, I want to go back and talk about COVID and quarantine, and just kind of pick your brain and see what your experience was with it. I know it's just been a very stressful time period for people. There's a lot of unknown. There's still a lot of unknown. I know for myself, nutrition hasn't been the best. I'm a stress eater for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And just sticking with a good routine with gyms being closed, like, it's been very hard for myself. So I'm sure it has been with other people. And I just want to see what your experience has been with that.
Yeah. And it definitely threw a wrench in the plans. I was a little nervous being, like we kind of said, being the business owner of your own place. If something happens, it's on you. With all this going on, there were so many unknowns, so many question marks. Biggest thing is, safety of people. We want to make sure everyone feels safe and is safe with everything going on. There's so many, one day there's answers, the next day those answers were wrong. There's so many things back and forth. And for people to, when people do want to work out, when people are ready to come back, I'm here. I'm not going to rush anybody back if they're not comfortable with it yet. At the gym, there are precautions being taken. There's, people are wiping down equipment more frequently. They have sectioned off areas with 6 feet apart. That way that there is social distancing going on at the gym. And program wise, we try to make sure there's no, like, we're not cycling through things where everybody's sharing equipment. So people are cleaning things up there, so that's definitely been an adjustment. There's more cleaning going on, more sanitization, things like that. But right when that all came up, I knew that there was going to be a little drop in income. So I tried to make do with the situation. And I created like a free at-home program for people. I sent that out, all body weight stuff that you can do at home.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just a month long when it first began. So I wasn't sure how long that was all going to go on. And then we had a little, there were challenges on social media where we were sending workouts back and forth and tagging people, and that spread. We had Elijah Muhammad, who's in the CrossFit Games. We had a friend of mine, Johnny Johnson, who's in Chicago, and we were kind of like, tagging random people and putting on your social media, and then they'd do a workout and send one back. And so that was kind of fun, to kind of keep people engaged and conscious about that. But you nailed it when you said nutrition, because that's one thing that's always within our control.
Yeah.
And I'm not a nutritionist, so that's not my realm. I can't really give meal plans. I've referred a couple people to some nutritionists that I trust. But I will give, recommendations, and people don't need to take that by any means. But one thing that has worked for me, just because it hasn't worked, or just because it's worked for me doesn't mean it's going to work for anybody. So don't take this as gospel. But I like doing, filling my plate with a protein source and vegetables, and then filling it up with, carbs, fats, that kind of stuff. Plenty of fluids, plenty of water. Coffee every morning. You don't have to do that, but I need to get up. But it's one of those two where nutrition really is something that we can control. And in a world where there's so many unknowns and so many things going on right now, it's really, it's something that we do need to take seriously. And, there's different ways you can boost immune systems, and with the virus, who knows what's all going on. There's so many, like we said, there's so many contradicting opinions. And I'm not diving into politics with it, but we definitely, as a society, if there's ways that we can boost our immune system to kind of fight that and give ourselves a better chance to, recover quicker, or, working out, getting outside and moving, staying hydrated, getting away from the junk foods, those kind of things can definitely help. Getting enough sleep, those kind of things can definitely help with your immune system. And if we can all collectively, make an effort to better our food intake, I think, that's not necessarily the solution for it by any means, but it can definitely give us each a better chance to come out on the safe side there.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. So how do you, you mentioned what you like to do from a nutrition standpoint, but how do you stay healthy as far as your training and your fitness?
Food is definitely a big thing. And the way that I describe it to a lot of people is with my meals, I'm eating about 4 meals a day. So 4 meals a day, 7 days a week. Let's say there's roughly 28 meals there a week. I'm not eating 100% perfect, clean dieting, whatever. I'm eating good, real foods, 25 meals a day or 25 meals a week. And then those other 3 meals, my girlfriend and I will go get ice cream, or we'll go to Central Standard and get a burger and fries, or those 3 meals are never going to outweigh those other 25. So it's finding that balance between what you need and what you want, kind of like what we talked about with training already. But would I be able to achieve goals faster if I did 28 out of 28 meals? Potentially, but at the same time, there's no way I'm going to stick with that long-term in order to achieve long-term results and make a lifestyle out of this versus just losing a quick 20 pounds before spring break. You really have to figure out that balance of what you need and what you want so that you can create a sustainable plan. As for workouts, I do I do a lot of what I have my clients do. I'm not going to make them be guinea pigs for anything. I'm going to test it out on myself too. And that's also a testament of my training of, I wouldn't make them do anything I wouldn't do. I'm not going to have them, do an hour of burpees. We're going to do productive workouts that, we're going to strength train. We're going to spend a lot of time doing multi-joint exercises, squats, deadlifts, lunges, pushing, pulling, core work, a lot of those big muscle groups. That way they get the most bang for their buck. And sometimes, yep, we're gonna crank it up a little bit. We're gonna work the heart rate. We're gonna push them a little bit physically and mentally, but at the same time, you're not gonna leave every session, dragging yourself out of there, gasping for air on the floor. I don't believe in that. I think that I have the strength and conditioning background to some extent, and I do program my clients' programs that way a little bit more. Obviously, depending on the person, it can change, but I do like to make sure they're getting stronger and building muscle. But then we also attack their weaknesses, and a lot of people deal with like the hunched shoulders. They'll deal with back pain and hip pain, and limited mobility in certain joints. And we spend a lot of time working through those and strengthening areas that will help combat that, and stretching the areas that need to be loosened. But we do spend a lot of time doing core work because that's such a big tie-in from upper to lower body, and a strong core can really do wonders to help all your other lifts improve. But then it also can help with the back issues, which so many people, it's so common. Um, so we spend a lot of time doing that, and it's really the same programming that I do. Obviously it changes here and there based off what people's wants and needs are, but I do believe that I'm never going to put somebody through something that I wouldn't put myself through first.
So what are the qualities that you would say make a successful client?
Somebody that buys in. I know weightlifting can be intimidating. Some people get a little nervous around the big weights, which I'm never going to throw anybody into big weights unless they're ready for big weights. We're going to make sure form's perfect first. Somebody that listens and somebody that truly takes your word to heart. I think that there are a lot of people that walk into a gym and think that they know more than most, and some people might, but at the same time, there needs to be a listening aspect, like we talked about earlier. I learn from them, they learn from me, and when it's time to buy in, they need to understand that there's a greater plan in place than just that day's workout. There's a reason why we're doing what we're doing, and that's another thing that I believe. If I don't have a reason for putting you through something, call me on it. It's not, I shouldn't just be throwing random movements together. It should be, it should be a stepping stone for your goals. That's one where we kind of keep each other accountable. And for the ideal client, they can ask why. I would love to explain the why behind it, but at the same time, it needs to be, if you're using me for a service, to provide you a personal training service and to help you with your health and fitness, I need you to do your homework. You've got to be compliant. You've got to listen and adjust things when we need to adjust. And most people are pretty good about that. We'll keep each other accountable. I'll shoot them texts in the off days. How's the body feeling? What's going on? Did you get your workout in today? Did you go walk? Whatever it may be. So the ideal client is somebody that buys into your program and can really go all in.
Okay. How often do you work with clients? Like once a week, twice a week? What's that look like?
Usually 1 to 3 times a week for most people. I think you get more out of it the more you train with somebody. That way you can really individualize things and you can progress a little bit more rapidly. Mm-hmm. Majority of my clients are 1 to 3 times a week. Okay.
And you said you give them homework, you follow up with them.
Yeah, like if you look through my text messages right now, I can pull them up, but it's it's client, family, client, girlfriend, client. Like it's majority of people, like we stay in contact pretty regularly. It's going to be which is cool because it's a good relationship. We can bounce ideas off each other. We'll text each other, here and there. I'll check in with the kids and how their family's doing. And if we did have a tough workout, I'll shoot them a reminder. Hey, get plenty of fluids in, make sure you're getting this mobility stuff in, or if a client's out of town for a vacation or work or whatever it may be, and they have access to a hotel, I'll shoot them at home workouts or the hotel workouts, things like that. And I think that's part of the buy-in process. I need them to buy in, but I also need to buy in. So I need to be attentive. I need to make sure that they're getting, you're working out with me once, let's say you're a 1 time a week client, you're working out with me 1 time a week. There's so many other hours that, you could slip up or things could go wrong. So kind of keep forming that relationship and keeping each other accountable is huge.
Yeah. Yeah. You hit the nail on the head there. I think the accountability part, like you said, it's everything. I myself work with different personal trainers and strength coaches, and there's many aspects that they probably know more than I do. And certainly they could go do it on their own, but having that accountability and having someone hold them to it is so helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of funny you mentioned scrolling through your phone. My wife picked up my phone the other day, and she's just looking at it, and she's like, geez, like, who are all these people? I'm like, it's all patience of mine. Like I'm the same way. You got, building that, there's the accountability piece, but just building a relationship with them too, a professional relationship where there's some mutual trust there. You're getting that buy-in, you have the accountability, but you're following up with your people and you're making sure they're okay, because you only see them so many times a week. So
yeah, and that's the thing, and you get it. There's a reason you're successful as well, and it's one of those where if you show them that you care outside of that hour, you're not just there for the money.
Right.
It's okay to be money motivated, but obviously there has to be more to it. In this kind of business, you've got to care for the people. You've got to truly look out for their needs, and sometimes that involves difficult conversations of, hey, like we either need to take weight off, or going too heavy, or form slacking, or maybe it's hey, you've been working out really hard, but your nutrition hasn't been on point. Let's address that. But that all comes with the trust and the relationship. Like you said, the professional relationship there is, they trust you. They want you to, that's why they're paying you. You've got to have those conversations, and you got to keep them accountable, and creating that buy-in experience is big accountability wise, and it really can help them change their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Andrew, I won't keep you much longer. If people want to find out more about you, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, I've got a page on Facebook and Instagram. My Instagram handle is at @Seymour_Health and Fitness. Seymour is SEYMOUR, and then you can just look up Seymour Health and Fitness or Andrew Seymuor on Facebook. You could also check out SeymourHealthAndFitness.com for a very infrequently updated website. Like I said, technology is not my forte, but there is some content on there. And then if anybody's interested, I do send out a bi-weekly newsletter. It's been going on for over 2 years now. It's different topics, health, nutrition, different interviews. Like I said, I interviewed Mike Zwiefel, owner of BBA. There's a couple other people, professional, there's nutritionists, there's different athletes, things like that I've interviewed with there. So there's all kinds of different content there. It's a free email newsletter. Every other Friday I send one out. So if anybody's interested in that, just shoot me an email, SeymourHealthAndFitness@gmail.com, and I can add you to that.
Perfect. I'll put that in the show notes as well. But Andrew, awesome. I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on here.
Yeah, my pleasure. This is awesome. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you, Brian.
Yep.